Hey guys, Zelonius here. Welcome to another video on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the new patch that's just dropped today. I have not had a chance to properly test it. It's literally only come out in the last couple of hours. I will be testing it in the next few days. And then from there, I do think this is actually quite a substantial patch on paper anyway. There's a pitch notes article to go with it. I will be testing it. I'll give my thoughts in a few days when I've had time to actually play it. And then I will be doing new tactics videos for post-patch updates based on the new patch. This is probably going to be the last substantial patch of the year for FIFA 23, I'd imagine. It's the first substantial one we've had in a couple of months, to be honest. So I'm very interested to see how this patch actually plays. It looks pretty interesting and like quite a big change to the game. Annoyingly, I already recorded this video about 4 or 5 hours ago. I recorded the video based on this set of here, the actual patch notes, and yeah, it was ready to go. And 5 minutes before I posted the video, EA released an article with in-depth information about the patch. I was on my video saying that there's a lot of the stuff here is guesswork. You can only really, it's just words. It doesn't actually mean or show a lot. And I wish EA would give us some more information to actually explain this. And then just as I'm about to post the video, EA give us that. So I didn't want to just release a video that didn't give you guys the most information possible. So I deleted it, stopped the upload, and I'm re-recording it now for you guys. As with all my content, I always want it to be the best it can be to help you guys as much as possible. And like I was literally saying, when I was doing the video, I was sat there saying we need more info. So good that EA did that. I do not know why they don't release the pitch notes with the patch notes to explain it at the same time. But here we go. That's EA in all their wisdom. So the original recording, just like Mika's song, Happy Ending, there wasn't any happy ending, and we're going again. We're going to go through the patch notes. We're going to look through them, and then we're going to read the pitch notes and side by side, I guess, and see what it's saying. So, one side note, I don't really look too much outside of gameplay in the patch notes, but it's interesting to see that they're going to be adding a lot of women's stuff to the game, Women's Champions League, National Women's Soccer League. I'm pretty sure that's the American Women's League, some new women's clubs. I've seen quite a few leaks confirming, apparently, that we're going to be getting women's football added to Ultimate Team next year. It's good to see EA being more inclusive, adding more to Ultimate Team. I'll be interested to see how that works. How will it be intertwined with the men's game? Will it be a separate Ultimate Team mode? Be very interesting. But that was just a side note. Let's get into the actual gameplay patch notes. So, players with the explosive accelerate archetype now accelerate slightly faster during the early stages of a requested sprint. So, we've had the accelerate archetypes at the start of the year. They were busted at the start. It was basically just lengthy players were the only ones who were really good or quick anyway. Explosive was broken and just didn't work. But according to this now, players with the explosive accelerate archetype are going to be faster when they start a sprint. So we've got this here. Title update number 9 introduces the following changes for PS5, Xbox, and PC. So you're not going to be getting these updates on old gen because Accelerate Archetypes is only a new gen thing, so this does not affect old gen players. One of our goals with the Accelerate Archetype, or accelerates to better capture the diversity, blah, blah, we don't need to read that. This is going to show it. So this is how an explosive player could have sprinted before title update 9. So which one is it? That's the explosive there. And the other guys start to catch him eventually. Lengthy looked quite quick there. Okay, so there, the explosive stays ahead for a lot longer. That looked fairly noticeable to me. It looks like explosive is going to stay ahead actually quite a bit longer and get off to a much better start. Doesn't fully explain it, but it, like it says there, it's subtle but noticeable. They'll be a little quicker initially before than before. Wanted to be careful with this change order to avoid making explosive players unreasonably quick. Interesting. So that looks good on paper. Might make explosive players a little better. One side note though, how many players are actually going to be explosive in Ultimate Team moving forward? Because players are going to get so many cracked stats with the new promos Team of the Season coming up. Most players are going to probably be controlled because of the strength versus agility balance. So we're probably not going to have that many explosive players. But on paper, that looks good, especially for explosive players. Okay, when intercepting the ball while jockeying, the player is now better able to take control of the ball instead of it bouncing away from the player. So for years, FIFA has been absolutely plagued with not winning the ball back consistently enough. It's been one of the biggest issues on the game, in my opinion. You don't get rewarded for aggressive defending. You don't get rewarded for manually stepping in and making the tackle, manually pressing and making interceptions, cutting the passing ledge yourself. And every year they seem to do patch notes that have stuff like this and says you'll win the ball back more now. And it never seems to work. So I'm a bit skeptical, but I think they've got something here. Jockeying, interceptions. So it's when you jockey, apparently, you've got more chance. I hold jockey pretty much religiously. When I coach people, I always tell them that they should be holding jockey. So this, for me, is going to be something I'm promoting even more to people. When intercepting the ball while jockeying, the player's now better able to take the ball, blah, blah, blah. We're looking to ensure that players who excel at reading the game are better able to turn their understanding into action on the virtual pitch. Good. Please note that this change doesn't mean that every single one will be successful, of course. Rely on a variety of factors such as attributes, positioning, ball travel speed, and more. Okay, here's how it would have looked before. So, they're bounced straight back to the opposition. See there, the holder jockey, and it just bounced back. Let's look now. Okay, because he was holding jockey there, he actually keeps it pretty tight to him. That's good. I mean, on paper, to me, that looks good. I think you should be rewarded for more manual, aggressive play. That's what I want to see on FIFA. So if that consistently happens a lot more, that is a lot better and will definitely increase the skill gap and stop you conceding as many stupid goals. But I need to see it in game. As with all these patches, I need to actually see how they play. Increased accuracy of driven ground passes made to teammates ahead of the ball carrier in situations where the pass was under no pressure from defenders. So, this is a controversial one in the sense of, on some FIFAs, when the driven passes have been really good, it's made the game quite arcadey, very ping-pongy, and almost a bit crazy. So it depends very much on how good they've made driven passes. But when driven passes aren't good, the game feels very slow, massively in advantage of the defending team, and honestly, not very good. And very boring, not enjoyable to play, and becomes quite a grind, and people just generally aren't going to enjoy that. So I prefer this in the sense of long term. I think there's potential for the game to be more fun and be a better, more attacking game that rewards you attacking and playing quicker if this works, but we need to see it in game. They do, though, have an article on it here. Driven ground, pass accuracy, increase it, blah, blah. While this change doesn't fundamentally change how driven passing works, this is R1X passes, by the way. Add more authenticity to driven ground passes, whatever that means. This is before the update. Now let's take a look at them at that same. Honestly, to me, doesn't look that different. Notice how the grouping of the ball trajectory is a little tight, increases the consistency of the type of pass. Just to reiterate, this change applies to driven ground passes performed to teammates ahead of the ball carrier. Ahead of the baller carrier. Do you mean the ball carrier? This doesn't affect you when you're under pressure from defenders, so it's only when you've got time on the ball. Fair enough. Okay, interesting. This bit about standing, pushing and pulling and knuckleball power shots, I am not going to bother looking into because simply put, I don't think they actually matter much. I don't really ever use power shots and I don't use the push or pull. But the driven pass accuracy, on paper to me there, and from what they're showing in their like mini videos there, doesn't look very different. So to me, I'm not thinking too much that it's going to change how the game plays as much as I thought it might. But if it in game actually feels a lot more consistent, and the key to me is the speed. It doesn't mention speed, but often when they change things on the game, how do I word it? So they make a change that's not like in the patch notes, but in the actual in-game, it's very different. So you do have to test these patches out. That's why I'm going to do another video in a few days. When you get a better idea of that, we'll be able to judge how the meta is going to be for the rest of FIFA. Because I think this is the last big patch. But I do think it will make the game feel a bit quicker, because even if the speed of driven passes isn't boosted, you're still going to probably be able to play them quite a bit more consistently. And in turn, you can build up quicker, suits attacker. That's good for the game, in my opinion. This push-pull thing, I'm not bothered about whoever uses push or pulls. Knuckleball power shots, I don't ever use power shots. Decrease the speed that the ball can travel up from a free kick take with the outside of the foot. I mean, free kicks, no one really shoots them at a high level, unless there's some meta for free kicks that people have been scoring a lot that I'm unaware of. But the free kick technique I did use was the outside of the foot, but people just put the men on the line. So, yeah. Decrease the range required for a defender to attempt to tackle without being requested to do so. I do not like that. Don't make it so defenders make tackles when you don't. Why is there even a thing in the game where AI players can do something without being told to? Sure, like making runs and slightly tracking stuff, fine. But they should not be making tackles. To me, that's crazy. The fact that EA have literally put in their patch notes to improve it, that's a bit ridiculous, and I can't understand the logic behind that. I would love to sit down with the developers and talk about this and ask them why they think this is good for the game. Maybe they have reasons that make sense, but to me, that doesn't really... I just don't get that. Increase consistency of flicking the ball if the ball was in the air. So for me, this isn't something that's really been noticeable for a while. There was a FIFA, it was either 19 or 20, where volleys... 19 volleys were great, but I can't remember if they were still good on 20. People were literally flicking the ball up with the right stick, doing kick-ups until they volleyed it. It was very hard to get the ball off someone doing kick-ups, and volleys were OP. So what EA did, rather than nerf volleys or make it easy to get the ball when it was in the air, they just basically made it impossible to control the ball through kick-ups around the box. It just one kick-up and your player would just start taking ridiculous touches. So, from now, it looks like they're increasing the consistency. I need to see how big a difference it is, but I don't think it'll matter too much. These bugs here, honestly, they don't seem to make too much of a difference. There is this one here. Goalkeepers could have sometimes anticipated shots too quickly. This was most noticeable in one-on-one situations. 100%. Keepers this year can genuinely be absolutely cracked, I find, when it comes to one-on-ones. They're so annoying to play against. They just dive on the ball, pounce, and this was probably only going to be amplified by keepers with higher speed getting released as the year goes on. So hopefully this makes keepers a bit less cracked. A game where keepers are completely OP is not fun. I don't want a game where every shot goes in, so people just get an inch of space and shoot from 40 yards and it flies in. But I don't want keepers to be making saves that they shouldn't, or being really overtuned and letting some stuff, but then you lose because their keeper's just cracked. And then the other one, in some cases, a player could take longer than intended to start sprinting with the ball when a sprint was requested. Definitely something I notice at times. Hopefully that fixes it. But for me, the big potential changes are the explosive accelerate archetypes, intercepting the ball while jockeying, and driven ground passes. Driven ground passes. Those three there could drastically change the game. Could make the game feel a lot faster, a lot more attacking, and people could be a lot more aggressive when defending if they know they're a lot more likely to get the ball. For me, on paper, this patch would make the game a lot better if it does what it says. I'll be coming back in a few days to tell you guys if I think it has. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about the patch notes. If you've played any games with it so far, let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys' support as always. Keep it spicy. See you guys in the next one. Peace.